In the serene town of Crestwood, a shadow of mystery began to loom, unsettling the peaceful rhythm of everyday life. Mark, a journalist with a keen sense for stories hidden in plain sight, was the first to notice the unusual pattern. Crestwood's residents were disappearing, vanishing into thin air, leaving behind only questions and a lingering sense of unease. The local baker, a well-liked schoolteacher, and a vibrant teenager each had disappeared without a trace, as if plucked from existence. Driven by a mix of professional curiosity and a growing concern for his community, Mark set out on a personal mission to unravel this mystery. He started where the stories ended at the last known locations of the missing. The bakery, still redolent with the aroma of fresh bread. The school, echoing with the remnants of children's laughter. The alley, where the teenagers' street art brought splashes of color to gray walls. All were scenes of ordinary life, yet now they throbbed with an unseen tension. It was late one night, while poring over his notes and maps, that Mark received an anonymous email. The message was brief and cryptic, stirring more questions than answers. "Look beyond what you see," the email read. Attached to the email was a blurry photograph of Crestwood's town square under the veil of night, seemingly ordinary, yet subtly off. As Mark's eyes traced over the image, a chilling sensation crept up his spine. The feeling of unseen eyes observing him. A puppeteer lurking. Mark's instinct as a journalist was to probe deeper, to shed light on the shadows. But as the quiet town slept, and the moon cast its pale light over the empty streets, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping into a story much larger and more ominous than any he had encountered before. The next morning, Mark's quest for answers led him to the historical heart of Crestwood. As he walked through the town's library, a treasure trove of local history, he felt each book and document pulsating with stories of the past. Here, amidst the dusty shelves and faded papers, he hoped to find clues that would shed light on the current mystery. His research unearthed a disturbing pattern. Crestwood, it seemed, was no stranger to unexplained disappearances. Every 50 years, a similar string of vanishings occurred, each time casting a shadow of fear and suspicion over the town. These historical echoes resonated with the present, painting a picture that was both perplexing and ominous. In his search, Mark stumbled upon an old legend, almost forgotten by the modern residents of Crestwood. It spoke of the Watcher, a spectral figure said to claim those who stumbled upon certain hidden truths of the town. Though Mark was naturally skeptical, the threads of the legend seemed to weave themselves eerily into the fabric of the current events. As he researched further, a chilling realization dawned on him. The locations of the recent disappearances, when marked on a map, formed a distinct pattern, a circle intersected by a single straight line. This symbol, stark and simple, was identical to the one in the blurred photo he had received. The night air was cool as Mark stood in the town square, the location from the photo. He was alone, save for the silent statues that adorned the square, each one a silent observer to the town's hidden history. The clock tower struck midnight, and a faint, almost imperceptible humming began to fill the air. The ground beneath him vibrated gently, and the air seemed to grow denser, as if charged with anticipation. Then, there was a shadow, tall and slender, standing at the edge of the square. It was facing away from him, yet Mark felt its gaze upon him, penetrating and cold. He approached cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. But, as he drew nearer, the figure vanished into the night, leaving behind a single object, an old, weathered book titled The True History of Crestwood. The book's pages were filled with accounts of ancient rituals, secret societies, and a vow to protect the town from an unnamed curse. Mark stood there, under the gaze of the moon, holding the book in his trembling hands. He was now entwined in a web of history and mystery. and he knew that his journey had just begun. Mark, with the old book in hand, felt as though he had crossed an invisible threshold into a world that had long remained hidden within Crestwood's quiet facade. The more he read, the deeper he was drawn into a narrative woven through the town's history, a narrative of shadows and secrets. The book spoke of a secret society formed centuries ago, known as the Guardians of Crestwood. This clandestine group, composed of influential town members, had one cardinal duty: to protect Crestwood from an ancient curse. The nature of this curse was shrouded in mystery, but it was clear that the disappearances were intricately connected to it. Night after night, Mark sat hunched over the book, piecing together the fragmented tales. The disappearances, he learned, were not random. They were carefully selected by the society as sacrifices to appease whatever malevolent force threatened their town. It was a chilling realization. The vanishings that had thrown Crestwood into mourning were, in fact, orchestrated by a hidden hand. Determined to uncover more, Mark ventured into the town hall under the guise of researching its architecture for an article. His real goal was to probe the depths of the building, seeking any hint of the society's presence. His search led him to a concealed basement behind a facade of old filing cabinets. The air was thick with dust and secrecy as Mark descended the creaky stairs. What he found was a chamber that seemed frozen in time, walls adorned with symbols that matched the one from the disappearances and the photo. The chamber was filled with relics, documents, and a large, detailed map of Crestwood, with certain locations marked locations of the past and recent disappearances. Mark realized he was standing in the heart of the society's operations. This room held the answers to the questions that had haunted Crestwood for generations. He felt a mix of horror and fascination as he sifted through the documents' accounts of meetings, plans, and a disturbing ledger of names, the selected ones for the ritual. As he immersed himself in the forbidden knowledge, the weight of responsibility bore down on him. Mark knew he held in his hands the power to unravel the fabric of Crestwood's existence, to expose the truth hidden for centuries. But he also understood the danger that came with such knowledge. The society was still active, its members unknown, and Mark knew that his discovery put him in grave peril. Leaving the chamber, he felt a change in the air, a silent warning that he was no longer just an observer, but a player in this ancient game. The shadows of Crestwood had enveloped him, and there was no turning back. With each step, Mark took away from the hidden chamber beneath the town hall. The reality of his discovery weighed heavily on him. The knowledge he now possessed about the secret society and its chilling rituals was both powerful and perilous. He walked through the silent streets of Crestwood, acutely aware that the peaceful facade of the town hid a somber and dangerous truth. In the following days, Mark wrestled with a moral quandary. Exposing the society and its practices could shatter the town's tranquility and bring chaos. Yet keeping silent meant becoming an accomplice to the shadows that had consumed innocent lives. His contemplation was interrupted one evening when he received another anonymous email. The message was succinct, yet its implications were profound. You have seen the unseen. Join us and protect Crestwood, or refuse and share the fate of those you seek to avenge. The email was signed, The Guardians of Crestwood. Mark was torn. Joining the society meant aligning with the very forces he found abhorrent. Yet refusal could mean his disappearance, becoming yet another unsolved mystery of the town. He pondered the lives lost, the families shattered, and the peace built upon silent screams and hidden sacrifices. Could he live with the knowledge and do nothing? As he grappled with these thoughts, Mark started noticing subtle changes. Unfamiliar cars parked near his house, fleeting glances from strangers on the street, and an unsettling feeling of being watched. It was clear that the society was observing him, gauging his next move. He made the decision to meet with an old friend, Sarah, who worked at the local newspaper. If anyone could help him disseminate the information safely, it was her. In the quiet corner of a cafe, under the buzz of hushed conversations and the clink of coffee cups, Mark shared his findings. Sarah listened, her expression shifting from skepticism to disbelief, and finally to a resolute determination. Together, they devised a plan. They would publish a series of articles exposing the society and its rituals, revealing the truth behind the disappearances. The evidence from the hidden chamber would be their foundation, supported by historical records and the patterns Mark had uncovered. It was a risky move, but one they believed was necessary for the town's future. Mark left the cafe with a newfound sense of purpose, yet the feeling of dread lingered. The society had deep roots in Crestwood, and he knew that challenging it would provoke a reaction. As he walked home, the shadows of the evening seemed to whisper and shift, as if echoing the turmoil that lay ahead. Mark's decision to confront the hidden truths of Crestwood set into motion a series of events that would forever alter the fabric of the town. Armed with the knowledge gleaned from the secret chamber and the support of his friend Sarah, he felt a responsibility to bring the society's actions to light. They worked tirelessly, piecing together the story for publication. Each article was meticulously crafted to reveal a part of the society's dark legacy. The historical patterns of disappearances, the chilling purpose behind them, and the evidence of the society's existence were laid bare for all to see. As the day of publication drew near, the air in Crestwood seemed to thicken with anticipation. Mark noticed an increase in the subtle, yet unmistakable signs that he was under surveillance. The sense of being watched grew more pronounced, an unspoken warning from the society. Despite the growing fear and the sense of danger that loomed over them, Mark and Sarah pressed on. The series of articles was published first as an exposé on the historical patterns of disappearances, then revealing the existence of the secret society, and finally unveiling the harrowing truth of the sacrifices and the ancient curse they were meant to appease. The reaction in Crestwood was immediate and tumultuous. Town was thrown into a state of disarray as residents grappled with the revelations. Some dismissed the articles as fanciful conspiracy theories, while others were forced to confront the unsettling truth of their town's history. But the society did not remain silent. Mysterious incidents began to occur, unexplained malfunctions at the newspaper office, cryptic threats delivered to Mark and Sarah, and a palpable increase in the town's overall tension. It was clear that the society was pushing back, desperate to maintain its influence and secrecy. Amidst this turmoil, Mark faced his own internal battle. The burden of the knowledge he carried and the danger it posed to his life weighed heavily on him. He knew that by shining a light on the darkness of Crestwood, he had also painted a target on his back. One evening, as he walked through the now familiar town square, the sense of being watched returned with an overwhelming intensity. He paused, looking around at the quiet streets, the shuttered windows, and the moon casting long shadows on the ground. A chill ran down his spine as he pondered his fate. Had he succeeded in breaking the cycle of silence and sacrifice that had gripped Crestwood for centuries? Or had he merely become the latest chapter in the town's hidden narrative? The answer, like the shadows that danced around him, remained elusive, leaving both Mark and the town of Crestwood suspended in a state of uncertain anticipation.